In regional news, more than 2,000 protesters are still staging a sit-in at Hong Kong's international airport. You're looking at live pictures from the airport right there, where protesters dressed in black, they've filled the arrivals hall.
Chanting anti-government slogans, holding banners and handing out flyers, they say they want to educate visitors to Hong Kong about the situation there. Now, the city has been in the grip of massive protests, which began last month against the controversial extradition bill, but has evolved into a wider anti-government movement.
Let's cross over to Roland Lim, who's at the airport right now. Roland, the midnight deadline for this protest is approaching. Any sign that protesters might disperse? And what happens if they don't?
Well, the crowds have already thinned somewhat. Below me, you can see the arrival hall for the B zone. It used to be several hours ago that both the A as well as the B arrival halls were filled with protesters. So, the protest numbers have certainly dwindled as such. And the likelihood of them not meeting the 12 p.m. deadline of dissipating, of course, is also going to be unlikely, because so far the protesters themselves have been peaceful. They haven't disrupted the normal operations of the airport itself, but rather made a lot of noise to the arrival hall, thereby, I guess, educating people, as you said, visitors to Hong Kong, about the real situation in Hong Kong, according to these protesters. What started out really as a couple of hundred of protesters in the afternoon has really turned into a mass demonstration by late evening, occupying the two halls, as I said earlier. They used all sorts of tricks really to catch the eyes of the visitors' attentions. They put up signs, they put up flyers, even makeshift walls along the arrival hall have been turned into Lennon walls. These are so-called post-it notes stuck on by supporters of the extradition, supporters against the extradition bill, I should say, and voicing support really for the protesters at large. And they also held up placards with name signs pretending to greet the visitors as if they were actually hotel guides, saying that Mr. and Mrs. Freedom, or another one with resembling a flight monitor that says HK726. HK726, of course, is Hong Kong, the date today, which is July 26th. They also gave visitors maps, actually maps of what exactly. It was actually the hotspots in which protest actions have actually taken place in Hong Kong. And they were also urging, of course, lots of the supporters here on the ground to share with social media what they're doing here today. So they are making the last round, as we say, towards the 1 hour mark before the protest officially ends.
I guess the question is then, Roland, how have the visitors who have been arriving at the airport been reacting to this protest? It can't be, it's kind of a strange one to come into, isn't it?
Yes, as I said earlier on, if you were coming in from a long-haul flight from, say, the US of A, and you were jet-lagged, and then to be greeted by protesters chanting "Free Hong Kong," they are alluding, of course, to the fact that they want a greater democracy here. You might react one way or the other. I've seen looks of bemusement on the faces of some of these foreign visitors to the country. But I've also seen some locals as well as foreigners putting thumbs up, cheering on these protesters. So it is a mixed bag. And I've also spoken, of course, to a few people here myself. One visitor told me that he supported what these protesters are doing at the arrival hall. Yes, they're making a lot of noise. Yes, they may be blocking thoroughfare, but at the end of the day, they have a right to protest, and they're doing so peacefully, he said. Another, of course, also supported the protesters, but he drew the line at the violence that was seen, the property damage that was seen at the Legislative Council building on July 1st, as well as the attack, vandalizing of the Beijing Liaison Office a week ago as well. So these are some of the contrasting voices that I've been hearing on the ground. But at the end of the day, it has to be said that the Hong Kong Airport Authority, which is managing the operations as well as the security here, say that these protesters have not disrupted the normal operations of the airport itself. People are still going about their business. Travelers are still catching their flights, and travelers landing are also still able to meet and to leave the airport without any inconvenience towards their next destination.
All right, thanks for that update, Roland. Roland Lim there, keeping an eye on things from Hong Kong International Airport.